Hello, welcome everyone. Welcome back to my channel. Today we are continuing with the integers. In our first video, we have already completed how to how to add and subtract integers, what are integers and what are positive, negative and zero integers. And today we are continuing with multiplication and division of the integers and some properties. So I'm starting with ascending and descending ordering. So basically, how we can order the integers in ascending and descending way. So ascending order is basically in this number, like in this series, the numbers are arranged from smallest to the largest. That means the set of numbers are given and then we have to, you can say, arrange them from smallest to the biggest one. So here we have one example: 12, 14, minus 20, 30, minus 10, 51. This one, as you can clearly see. And ascending says we have to arrange from the smallest to the biggest. So obviously we can see that negative numbers are going to be the smaller than the positive. And also we have two negative. We have to identify which one is smaller. I told you the negative number works opposite, and also the one which is on left side of the other number is always a smaller, which is negative 20 in this case. So negative 20 is the smallest one. Then comes the negative 10. Then for the positive, it's very easy. It would be 12. Then it's 14. Then it's 30. And finally 51. So these are ascending, these are arranged in ascending order, whereas descending order is when you are arranging integers or any number from largest to the smallest. So it's just the opposite of ascending order. So we can clearly see it's negative 21, 33, negative 42, 35, 45, negative 47. The largest one is obviously the 41. Then it's 35. Then it's 33, and now we have entered in the negative section of the numbers, and obviously the one which has that larger digits is the smallest one. That means negative 21 will be the smaller, then negative 42, and the smallest being negative 47. This is how we can arrange in descending order. Next is additive inverse. Additive inverse of a number is basically a number when we add to a given number, it will give me 0. Say for example, we have a number minus 3 and I'm asking what will be the additive inverse of minus 3. So minus 3 is basically a number, and I have to think of a number that I'll add to minus 3 so that my answer will be 0. So obviously for that 3 would be the answer, so that my answer will be 0. So for minus 3, 3 will be the additive inverse. Similarly, if the question is what's the additive inverse of negative 7? So what should I add to negative 7 to get 0? Obviously it will be the positive 7. Or in short, we can understand it as the opposite of a number. That means whatever be the number, we have to make its reverse in sign. So additive inverse of 3 will be negative 3. Additive inverse of negative 3 will be 3. Now these are the one that I'm going to tell you, like the information on 0 or some important points. These are those that we have already done in a previous class or previous video. So additive inverse, I have just explained you the additive inverse. That means the number that should I add to get a 0. So if I ask you what will be the additive inverse of 0, obviously what should I add to 0 to get 0? It's 0. So additive inverse of 0 would be 0. Now next says the sum of the greatest negative integer and the smallest positive integer is 0. Which is the greatest negative integer? If someone asks you the smallest, it's very difficult to tell because infinitely that number line is stretching onto the left hand side. This is a number line, and we know 0 is at the center, then 1, 2, 3 and so on, infinitely stretching on right hand side. Similarly, minus 1, minus 2 and infinitely stretching on left hand side. So it says sum of the greatest negative integer. Greatest negative integer is this one. This we can clearly see because just after the number which is smaller than 0, the integer is negative 1. If I say negative 2, negative 5, negative 10, they all are smaller than negative 1. So that makes negative 1 the largest negative integer. or the greatest negative integer, whereas we know smallest positive integer is 1. So this point says that sum of the largest negative and the smallest positive is 0. Obviously, minus 1 plus 1 will give me 0. Third says 0 is neither a positive nor a negative integer, that I have already explained you in our first video, where we have categorized the integers into 3 different integers: positive, negative and 0. So which makes 0 neither positive nor negative. Now there are some important points. These points are related to the one that we have done, this subtraction and addition of integers. So first says sum of two positive integers is always positive. We have already studied that. Say for example, if I'm adding 2 and 3. So 2 plus 3 will give me 5. 5 plus 9 will give me 14. So you can clearly see sum of two positive integer is positive. Next says sum of two negative integers is always negative. That means if I'm adding minus 4 minus 3, my answer would be minus 7. This is a fixed rule. If you're not aware of this, please go to the previous video. I have already attached the link in the description box. You can just click and it will help you in understanding the previous parts. So whenever we add the two negative numbers, the answer is always negative. Third one says when we add a positive and a negative integer, we always have to subtract them. So it basically deals with, we know when I'm adding two positive integer, answer is positive. When I'm adding two negative integer, answer is always negative, and we have to add them to get the negative answer. What if one number is positive, one number is negative? We have rule for that as well. Doesn't matter which number is negative, we always have to subtract them. But the final answer will have the sign of the one which is the greater one. Say for example, if it's 21 and 3. If I'm subtracting 21 minus 3, answer is obviously 21 is positive, 3 is negative. So I'm subtracting, that will give me 18 as the answer. But if I reverse these numbers, that means 3 minus 21, still I'll subtract. That means my answer will be 18, but it will take the sign of the bigger number. In this case 21 was bigger, so that's why it was positive. Here 21 is bigger, but 21 has a negative sign, so my answer will be negative 18. Now don't get confused between, if I'm saying which is bigger now, minus 21 or 3, obviously in that case 3 is the bigger one. I'm talking about the absolute value. Just remove that negative sign and individually think that 21 or 3, which one is greater. So 21 is greater and the sign of 21 is negative. So my final answer will take the sign of the bigger number. Now in operations, we have already completed subtraction and addition. Now we have to see multiplication. In multiplication of integers, we have to multiply exactly how we multiply any integer. The only problem is we have to keep in mind, we have to focus on some important rules that will decide the sign of the final result. So when we are multiplying two integers, we have to follow these rules that I have written here. This one. When I'm multiplying two positive integers, answer is positive, that you have been doing so far. 21 times 43, 71 times 21. So answer is always positive. But if two numbers are negative, both are negative, so don't get confused between addition and multiplication. They both follows the different rules. So this is the reason I told you that every day whatever I'm posting, you have to revise it and go through thoroughly, so that you will not get confused when I'll post the next video. And also just subscribe so that whenever I'll drop a video, you will get the notification. If you have any doubt, you can comment down in comment section. I'll definitely reply it. And if you will feel that the reply is not enough, definitely I'll consider it and make a video on it. So coming back to the rules of the multiplication. So rule says if you are multiplying two positive numbers, answer is always positive. If we are multiplying two negative numbers, still the answer is positive. Say for example, negative 1 times negative 3. You have to multiply 3 and 1, that will give you 3. But this is negative and this is negative. Negative becomes positive. So answer become plus 3. That means whenever I'm multiplying two negative numbers, answer is always positive. Next is, what if when one number is negative? That means in this case, doesn't matter whether your bigger number is negative or the smaller number is negative, the final answer is always going to be a negative answer. Say for example, it's 21 times negative 3. Answer will be negative 63. 21 times 3, 63, and 1 is positive, 1 is negative, answer is negative 63. If I change the sign, negative 21 times 3, still my answer will remain negative 63. So these are the rules. Two positive values, plus, if I multiply, that means plus multiplied by plus will give me plus, negative multiplied by negative will give me plus as well, and if I am multiplying opposite, answer is always negative. So negative plus negative times positive or positive times negative, it will always give me negative as the answer. See this example, 7 times 3 both are positive, answer is 21. Next, 7 times 3, but this time they both have the opposite, that is negative sign. So answer will be positive. We know negative multiplied by negative, positive. Answer is again 21. Next is negative 7 times 3. 7 times 3 is 21, but 7 has a negative sign, 3 has a positive sign. So answer will be negative 21. And for the next one, again it would be the same, 7 times negative 3. 1 is negative, 1 is positive. Answer is negative 21. Now, the question is find the product of 110 and 21. So same we have to do if, see, the very first thing is you have to multiply how you multiply any number. So let me multiply 110 and 21. We'll get 2310 as the answer. But now we have to look out the sign. So 1 is negative, 1 is positive, which means it will take negative sign. So that's the answer. Division of the integer follows the same rule as that of multiplication. That means numerator and denominator, if both are positive, answer is positive. If both are negative, answer is positive. Again, in multiplication it was the same, in division still is the same. If we are dividing, numerator is positive, denominator is negative, answer is negative here. And if numerator is negative, denominator is positive, still you will get the answer as negative. So let me say example, 20 divided by 5, that means 20 over 5, and we know it's 4. Now negative 20 over negative 5. They both are negative, so what will happen? They get cancelled out, and that's the reason our answer will become positive. So this will become positive 4. Negative 20 over 5. 1 is positive, 1 is negative. Negative stays there. Answer is negative 4. And 20 over negative 5. That means still answer is negative 4. Now let me see some properties of addition and subtraction of integers. Keep that in mind. We are doing only addition and subtraction of integers, not multiplication and division properties. So first is the closure identity property. So closure property is closure under addition. So simple. What does the closure means? It means when I'm adding two integers and my answer is also integer, it means that this is a closure identity or closure property. Suppose when I'm adding 4 plus 5, it will give me 9. Similarly, if I'll add minus 7 and minus 3, it will give me minus 10. So you can clearly see when I'm adding two different integers, doesn't matter if it's positive or negative, we are getting answer as integer. So this is called the closure property of integers or closure properties under addition. Next is closure under subtraction. So when I'm subtracting two integers, my answer will be integer as well. So that's a closure. Closure means when we are adding, subtracting or doing any operations, my answer is still the integer. So 5 minus 3 in context of integers. So 5 minus 3 is 2. So 5 is integer, 3 is integer, still our answer is integer. Similarly, minus 7 minus 2, which is minus 9, is still integer. So this is basically closed under subtraction. Third property is called commutative property. Commutative property states that if I change the order of the digits and still I'll be able to get the same answer, then we see that it's a commutative property. We are looking only for addition and subtraction as of now, not for multiplication and division. So that's why I'm talking about only addition and subtraction. So when I'm adding two numbers, doesn't matter if like what is the order, answer always remains same. That means here is an example. 5 plus 3 here will give me 8. Similarly, 3 plus 5 will give me 8. So you can clearly see, though I have changed the order, but answer is still the same. But when it comes for the subtraction, it doesn't happen same, it doesn't hold same, because 7 minus 3 will give me 4, but 3 minus 7 will give me minus 4. And that will change entirely this. So from here I can say A plus B is equals to B plus A, and hence it holds the property and commutative property of addition. This is called commutative property of addition. Whereas in subtraction, A minus B is not equals to B minus A. We can clearly see here. So obviously it doesn't follow the commutative property. Next is associative property. Associative property is when I make a group. In that case, we'll get the same answer. Like 1 plus 2 plus 3, we know it's 6. Say for example, I have made the bracket like this. And we know we always solve the bracket first. So 2 plus 1 is 3 and 3 plus 3 is 6. Now suppose I have changed the bracket and it's now this. 2 plus 3, let me solve the bracket first. So 2 plus 3, 5 plus 1, 6. So you can clearly see, doesn't matter whatever be the grouping way, answer is still the same. So we can say that the addition follows the associative property. This is called associative property of addition. But unfortunately, subtraction doesn't follow the same property. Like this, 2 minus 3 minus 4. Suppose this is inside the bracket. So we will solve 2 minus 3 minus 1, and minus 1 minus 4 will give me minus 5. So on solving this, remember we always solve bracket first. That's why I'm solving it here. So in that case, what I get to know, that answer is minus 5. But in this case, I have changed it. Let me solve 3 minus 4, which is minus 1, and 2 minus minus 1, that will give me 3. And answer is entirely changed. It has entirely changed. That means it proves that the subtraction doesn't follow the property. The last one is additive identity. Additive identity says that what should I add to an integer to get the same answer? That means, suppose the question is that there is a number 3 and what should I add in 3 to get 3? And it would be 0 only. That's the only number that I'll add and I'll get the same answer. So 0 is an additive identity for integers. So basically that's it for today. If again I'm saying, if you have any doubt, you can just comment down in comment section. Just subscribe to get the proper notification every time. If you will follow this series, it will surely help you in Olympiad. Obviously you need not to go to anywhere for the coaching. I'll say that the worksheet, the questions that we will be doing are pretty much helpful in SOF IMO, obviously, and if you will practice regularly, I can assure you, you will definitely crack it. So that's it for today, guys. Everyone, take care. Bye.